Everyone spends a lot of time waiting for the right moment. Sometimes you might feel like you are standing on the edge of a great change, but you cannot move your feet. You tell yourself that you need to learn one more skill before you start. You think you need to save a little more money before you feel safe. You believe you need to predict every problem before you begin your journey. This feeling is very common. It is the feeling of wanting to be perfectly ready before you live your life. This desire for safety can actually become a prison. When we try to control the future, we lose our power to act in the present. We think we are being smart, but really, we are just being afraid. Today, I want to tell you a story about a man who wanted to go on a journey. It is a story about the weight we carry when we try to solve problems that have not happened yet. This story is important because it shows us why waiting for perfect means waiting forever. Listen closely, because in this story you might see the reason why you have been stuck in the same place for so long. There was once a young man named Elian who lived in a small, quiet valley. The valley was safe, but it was surrounded by high gray mountains. Oli dreamed of seeing what was on the other side of those mountains. He had heard stories of a golden city where people were free and happy, and he wanted to go there more than anything else. However, Elian was a very careful man. He did not like to make mistakes. He believed that a smart person prepares for everything. He told his neighbors that he would leave the valley as soon as he was fully ready. One morning, Elian bought a large, strong backpack. He placed it on his table and opened his notebook. He began to write a list of all the dangers he might face on the mountain. First, he thought about the cold. The mountain tops were covered in snow, so Elian packed a thick, heavy fur coat. It filled the bottom of the bag. He nodded to himself. Now he would not freeze. Next, thought about hunger. The journey might take many weeks. What if he could not find food? He went to the market and bought 10 pounds of dried meat and 5 bags of heavy grain. He packed these into the bag on top of the coat. The bag was now half full. Then Oli worried about the rain. Wet clothes could make him sick. He found a large waterproof tent made of thick canvas. He folded it carefully, but it was very bulky. He pushed it into the bag with force. The bag was now almost full, but his mind did not stop working. He thought about wild animals. He needed a weapon to defend himself. He packed a heavy iron sword. He thought about falling off a cliff. He packed a long coil of thick rope. He thought about getting lost in the dark. He packed a large lantern and 6 bottles of oil. Finally, the bag was packed. It was huge. It towered above his head. Elian felt proud. He had thought of everything. He was ready for the cold, the hunger, the rain, the beasts, and the dark. He was safe. Next morning, the sun rose over the valley. Elian ate a good breakfast. He walked to the table and put his arms through the straps of the backpack. He took a deep breath and tried to stand up. He pushed with his legs. His face turned red. The veins in his neck stood out. But he could not straighten his back. The bag was too heavy. It pulled him down toward the floor. He tried again, grunting with effort, but he could only take one small wobbly step before he had to lean against the wall to catch his breath. He was crushed under the weight of his own safety. Elian sat down on a chair, sweating. He did not understand. He needed all these things. If he took out the coat, he might freeze. If he took out the food, he might starve. If he took out the sword, a wolf might eat him. Everything was necessary. Days turned into weeks. Every morning he tried to lift the bag. Every morning it was too heavy. He stayed in his house, looking at the mountains through the window. He was ready to go, but he could not move. One afternoon, an old man walked past Elian's open door. The old man had gray hair and a deeply lined face, but his eyes were bright and clear. He carried nothing but a small wooden stick and a tiny satchel over one shoulder. He was whistling a happy tune. Elian saw that the old man was walking toward the mountain path. He called out to him, "Wait, where are you going?" The old man stopped and smiled. "I am going to the Golden City," he said simply. "I hear the view is beautiful this time of year." Elian looked at the old man's tiny satchel. It was flat and almost empty looking. "You cannot go like that," Elian said. "You are not ready. Where is your tent? Where is your food for the month? Where is your sword for the wolves? You will die before you reach the top." The old man laughed softly. He walked into Elian's house and looked at the giant backpack sitting on the floor. He poked it with his stick. And you, my friend, the old man said, you have everything you need to survive. Yet you are still in your house. You are safe from the wolves and the cold, but you are also safe from the golden city. You have not moved an inch. Elian frowned. I am being responsible. I am prepared for the what-ifs. What if it snows? What if I break my leg? What if I get lost? The old man sat down and looked him in the eye. Let us look at your burden, he said. Open the bag. Elian opened the bag. The old man pointed to the heavy iron sword. Why do you carry this? For the wolves, Elian said. Have you seen any wolves today? The old man asked. No, Elian admitted. So today, you are carrying 5 pounds of iron for a wolf that is not here. You are spending your energy fighting an enemy that does not exist yet. This sword makes you tired before you even start walking. Leave it. Elian hesitated, but he took out the sword. The bag was a little lighter. The old man pointed to the heavy tent. And this? For the storms, Elian said. Is it raining now? The old man asked, looking at the blue sky. No? So you are carrying a house on your back today because of a cloud that might appear next week. The storm is only in your mind, but the weight of the tent is real on your shoulders. Leave it. Slowly, Elian pulled out the tent. They continued like this, removing the extra food, the heavy coat, until the bag was almost empty. Finally, only a bottle of water, a loaf of bread, and a thin blanket remained. Elian looked at the pile on the floor, panic rising. But now I am unprotected. I am not ready. The old man placed a hand on his shoulder. You are confusing preparation with prediction. You cannot know the future. You only have strength for today. When problems come, you will deal with them then. He handed the light bag back to Elian. You are carrying the weight of 1,000 possible futures. No one is strong enough for that. Elian stood still for a moment. Then he stepped outside. This time he could walk.